Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to start our class with a new lesson, that is chapter 3, the Indus Valley Civilization. As in the previous class, we had completed our lesson, the rural local self government. And in your worksheets, I have given you all the answers of your questions. We solved true false, match the following. Whatever questions were given with the answers, it is solved, and your rural local self government lesson is completed. Now I am going to start today your chapter 3, that is your Indus Valley Civilization. Before starting the lesson, we will first enter into some study of the map, that in which location this particular civilization had actually developed. The civilization in Indus Valley developed were Mohenjo-daro and the Harappa civilization near river Indus Valley. The river Indus Valley was the main river which provided the lifeline to these two civilizations, which had developed with the help of the support of Indus River. That is why near Indus River only such a huge and advanced civilization had developed in the ancient times. In the India's map, when you are entering in the north western side, you are entering into the region in which the river Indus, which is flowing, the main river Indus, with its tributaries, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj, these all the tributaries which are flowing, these were providing the main lifeline and support to the Harappa civilization and the Mohenjo-daro civilization. And these two civilizations actually survived in the region of this part of India, actually because of the support of river Indus. So now as we enter into the lesson, the Indus Valley civilization, in which we'll enter into your detailed analysis of the lesson. Your lessons, the origin part which is given, the first heading about this civilization, origin, the development of the Indus Valley civilization, the discovery of the ancient ruins of Harappa, which were discovered by Dayaram Sahni in 1921. Underline it. Important point. In this type of underlining, you will be helpful for learning as fill in the blanks, as true, false. The questions can be framed, might be framed, and of Mohenjo-daro by Rakaldas Banerjee in 1922 to 23. Both of the officers of Archaeological Survey of India, they belonged. They exploded an age-old myth. It was the earlier belief that history of India actually began with the coming of Aryans, but no. Before that also, the excavations of ruins of highly planned cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, which were highly developed and planned in town planning, street planning, drainage planning, pushed back the history of India from the Aryans again almost 2000 years. It proved beyond a doubt that the highly advanced urban civilization had actually flourished in India 4500 years ago. You can underline it. Keep pencils in hand and textbooks also in hand with you, and underline some important lines, the key point from the lesson. I am repeating. So it proved a doubt that a highly advanced urban civilization flourished in India about 4500 years ago. This civilization belonged to the Bronze Age and no traces of iron has been found. So it belonged to the Bronze Age metal civilization. So it is estimated that Indus Valley civilization flourished between 2500 BCE and 1500 BCE. The discovery of Indus Valley seals and pottery among the ruins of ancient Sumerian cities shows that India had trade links with Mesopotamia, which was contemporary civilization of Indus Valley civilization. That means with Mesopotamian civilization also they had the trade links which survived side by side only. That means at the same time both of the civilization were surviving, and they had a trading link, a relation which was going on in trading business. The proper location, as decided, as defined and explained by the archaeologist or the Archaeological Survey of India, has explained that Mohenjo-daro means Mound of Tet. It located on the banks of River Indus in Larkana district of Sindh, which is now in Pakistan region. This particular part. Okay, and Harappa is situated on the banks of River Ravi. Here River Ravi is there, on its bank only Harappa civilization had developed. So in this region Harappa civilization had developed, and which is now in Pakistan region only. These two parts which are now surviving in these two regions, the ancient ruins of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, for many years after the discovery. And you're having this map also in your textbook, page number 26. So you can follow in your book also. In that also the same map is there. You can read it for understanding. Okay, so that you can understand the location of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro for proper understanding, detail analysis of the location. So Harappa is situated on the banks of River Ravi, the district of Western Punjab, that is now in Pakistan. For many years after the discovery of these sites, it was believed that civilization was only confined to the valleys of Indus and its tributaries. It was actually in the ancient time the discovery had been found near Indus River and its tributaries, and it was confined that near those tributaries only the civilization had developed. But no, the civilization had actually far beyond the tributaries also the expansion were there. You can see the regions. It is entering into these regions. That means far beyond regions. Also from tributaries it has moved to these regions. And how it has spread up. So, however, later excavations means finding out the discoveries, later finding out has discovered that of similar sites proved that the civilization extended far beyond Indus Valley to many parts of northern and western India also. So now to the many parts of northern western India, around 2800 sites have been discovered so far, making Indus Valley civilization the largest civilization of the ancient world civilizations. Among the ancient civilization, it was the largest developed and huge expanded civilization with a well-defined drainage and town planning, proper water facilities, all were available. Ancient facilities only, not nowadays today's modern technologies I am telling. With old facilities, with water facilities, whatever near from the river, how they can put the through the drain lines, how they can sewage of the water gone into the tanks, fill up of the water. These all small systems had actually developed the designs in the mind during the Harappan civilization. Since the main sites, the cities of these civilizations were first discovered around River Indus and its tributaries, it is referred to as the Indus Valley civilizations. I am repeating, as the main cities of this civilization first discovered around River Indus. Underline it. The main civilization discovered around River Indus and its tributaries, so it is referred to as Indus Valley civilization. It is also called the Harappan civilization because Harappa was the first site to be unearthed and features of other sites resemble those of Harappa. So it is also called as the Harappan civilization. So a question can be, why is Indus Valley civilization also known as the Harappan civilization? So here you can get the answer. But then also the answers will be given to you in your worksheets. Okay. So now some major sites of Indus Valley civilizations, as we have discovered that these are the areas of the Harappan civilization. So here there are certain sites of these civilizations. Lothal, Surkotra, that is now in Gujarat region also it was covering the Harappan civilization, Mohenjo-daro civilization. Ropar in Punjab, Kalibangan, Rajasthan region, Alamgirpur, Uttar Pradesh, Banwali, the two newest sites of Rakhigarh and Dholavira, that is in Gujarat region. So the main characteristics when we enter into the main characteristic features, that how you can actually understand, resemble, or you can study about this civilization from the excavations which were carried out by the various sites prove that in 4500 years ago the highly developed and civilized people started to live in the society of Harappan and Mohenjo-daro civilizations, and it had a perfect and the first town plannings with first architecture in stone and clay designs with a proper engineering and drainage system had also started. So the town planning which started, the Indus Valley cities were very well planned and followed a grid system. Underline it. It is important for a true false also, for fill in the blanks also. The main streets ran parallel to each other. All the streets which were running all were parallel to each other. The main roads were straight and very wide, about 30 feet, and curved at the corners to allow the carts to pass easily. The streets were often paved with baked bricks. So, what you are understanding in this town planning, students, in town planning, which from where people used to live in the area, where people used to survive in the area, through that town planning, you can understand very well that how developed and how civilized and how peace loving these people were, so that they love the well planned system, so not to create any type of problem in living condition. So hence these people through town planning, they got a proper way of living, proper way of communicating, and proper way of transportation, because town planning provided a good system of roadways between the two houses. There were good gaps between, the distance were given between, so that the carts or whatever small vehicles could pass easily for the transportation or the communication purposes. Hence, it is very clear that town planning, whatever detailed lines which are given in the book, it provides and analyzes the advanced developed system of architecture which had actually entered in this era of the Harappan civilization. So it was the gift to the new technologies which is now we are using. The history of the technologies had started at the time of Harappan civilization, though small only, very simple for us we can understand, though those were very small stone vehicles, so stone wheels, wooden carts were used, very simple things were used for transportation purposes. Small boats were used for transportation from one place to another with the help of rivers. But these small developments only gave the base to the new developments. Hence, it provided a new base, a new form to the civilization, which helped the develop the society of people to live, survive, and to dominate the civilization so as to understand the competitive world which was going on in that time. Hence, the people started to discover also new things, a new system of survival methods so as to live peacefully. Hence, in your town planning of your book of Indus Valley cities. It is very well telling that it was well planned and followed a grid system, a straight line pattern, grid cutting patterns were there. That means it was actually providing the main streets which ran parallel to each other. There was no type of dashing or clashing of the streets. The streets were very well planned with a proper parallel condition given, which cut at the right angles, and thus dividing the cities into rectangular blocks and or the grids between which the towns, the houses were built. The main roads were straight and they were very wide, around 30 feet gapping. And if we'll rub this map, if we go to the town planning, they are explaining that how the town planning people actually lived. In town planning, they provided a proper grid pattern. That means in this way, a proper grid pattern. Okay, in this pattern, that means the houses here, if I am cutting this road, this is a particular road. Okay, this one. A proper grid pattern, if it is given in this way. Here, the houses were built. Here, the houses. And this is the road. And the road measurement is also given. Roads measurement, they are giving at least, they were 30 feet wide. The distance were at least 30 feet wide. 30 feet. Here houses were built. All houses. Straight parallel lines. So houses. Here all houses. All were having at least 30 feet gapping. The roads were having 30 feet, and the house in those grids, within the grids area, here grid areas, the houses were built. In this very proper pattern. No clashing, nothing. Roads were very clear near the house. Clear entering to the road area. They were clearly coming out from the house to the road. The links were so proper pattern of the town planning were done. So they had a very good planning system of roads which curved at the corners to allow the carts to pass easily. Curved at the corners means, suppose a cart is coming from this way. I hope you are able to see, a cart is coming, a wooden cart. Suppose it is coming. Now this particular turning, the cart has to turn this way. So it has a round curved pattern. The turnings were having a very good curved pattern. So carts used to travel very easily to these areas. Suppose it is traveling very nicely, it is curved pattern, corners. The corners were having all curved patterns. All curved corners. Okay. So curved at the corners to allow the carts pass easily. The streets were often paved with baked bricks. Streets were always paved with baked bricks. Very nicely brick settings were done. Very nicely. Very paved bricks were there. So architecture from this we can understand was very fine. The Indus Valley people were skillful builders. The building were of two types: dwelling houses and public building. Dwelling houses where they lived, where they survived. In that, large blocks of houses were built along the sides of street. We all know, side of the street, houses were built. In that, large blocks of houses were built along the sides of street. The houses, many of them were double-storied, had flat roofs. They were of different sizes. Some were like palaces, while others were only two small rooms. So this I am not drawing and telling you, so you just understand it. The houses were double story, had flat roofs, roof were flat. They were of different sizes, depend. Some were like palaces, very big. Others were very small also. They were made of baked bricks of very good quality. They had lasted for around 4,500 years. You can imagine how, when archaeologists were taking out, when digging up, they were seeing the houses very nicely structured and built. The bricks underground, the soil as it has been buried due to all geographical whatever conditions, calamities, the soil which has covered it up, but it was very nicely textured, the bricks. An average house had a courtyard. And a courtyard system was there where the family lived all together. These all surrounding all the rooms. All the rooms were there, and in the middle the courtyard was there. A bathroom, a kitchen, and a well was also there. So nice pattern. And a narrow staircase led to the rooms upstairs. On the upstairs also room structure was there. Public buildings where the all people of the towns gathered for discussion for any type of occasion. Great granary at Harappa was a large building, very huge building. What was it? Historians believe that it was used to store surplus food grains. Whatever extra production which was done, it was stored in these great granaries. There were 2 rows of granaries. Each row had 6 granaries, 6 divisions of granaries. A similar granary has been found in Mohenjo-daro. All the granaries were built close to the river bank so that the grains could be easily transported. So nice planning they have done. You just imagine how they lived. A similar granary has been found in Mohenjo-daro, and all granaries were built close to river bank so that the grains and the grain are not a very light product. All the sack which are filled with grains it becomes heavyweight. So it was built near the river bank so as to for transportation of granaries from one place to another. As we already know from the proof of certain, they have given archaeologists that they had some trading links also with outside regions. So river banks so that the grains could be easily transported with the help of boats. And near the great granary in Harappa, circular brick platforms has been found which were probably used for threshing grains. There were many furnaces where metal workers produced a variety of objects also. Many objects were also built. And another very important building was the Great Path. So we now understand about Great Granary. A short note on Great Granary also I will ask you. In worksheet I will give you the answers also. To write the short note on Great Granary. Now another important building was the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro. This building resembled a large swimming pool. It had 6 entrances, a central bathing pool, galleries and dressing rooms. 2 flights of steps led to the bottom of the pool. The floor and the walls of the pool were made of burnt bricks. This was the speciality of Great Bath. It was made of burnt bricks and made watertight. Why watertight? So that the sewage of water is not there, because it was a tank made, a type of swimming pool for religious purposes it was made. It is told, somehow it is believed by the archaeologists. So it was made watertight so that the leakage of or seepage of water is not there, and it was very well planned with the fresh water entering. An outlet system was also designed. The used waters were also thrown out through one drainage line. So the floors of the walls of pool were made of burnt bricks and made watertight with the lining of bitumen. Water from an adjacent well was also used to fill the pool with fresh water, and the used water was drained out through an outlet in one corner. So the water was thrown, the used water was also thrown out in one corner. Hence, great bath was probably used during religious ceremonies. It is believed that it was used for religious ceremonies. And as we all have discussed till now about Great Bath, its use, its proper functions, the assembly hall also, which was another striking building found in Mohenjo-daro. It was a pillared hall with thick walls and 20 pillars. It was a thick wall made of 20 pillars, and it was actually made for assembly, gathering purposes, or communication with the people of the towns and cities. So, this was the main function of forming of the assembly hall. Till this much we are reading. In the next class, again, I will come up with this lesson, and I will continue with the important points to read. Till now, you read the topic which I have taught today. Thank you.